After years of cancellation threats, delays, and developer drama, Bloodlines 2 finally dragged itself out of its coffin, only to get buried under review bombs from critics and players alike.
It's true. Bloodlines 2 is a linear action RPG that has very little in common with the first Bloodlines, and even less so with the tabletop rules. Let's be clear, we're both fans of the original 2004 game, and we've got several videos on the subject. On paper, there's every reason that we should absolutely hate the direction that the sequel has taken. But do differences alone make it a bad video game?
I decided to go in completely blind and stalk the snowy streets of Seattle for over 30 hours to find out. What I found along the way might surprise you, terrify you, or even delight you.
Hey buddy, not sure I agree with your philosophy.
And hey, I brought Roland Kunz along for the ride.
So someone can do bad vampire voice.
Yeah, I need more bad vampire voice.
Welcome to Two-Headed Hero, where we sink our teeth into indies, RPGs, immersive sims, and everything in between. If you'd like to support our never-ending journey into realms unknown, we'll talk about how you can join our band of champions a little later on.
But for now, it's time to sharpen those fangs and shimmy into your favorite leather pants as we rip into the mystery of Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. My name is Boss Sauce.
And I'm Roland Kunz. And together, we are the Two-Headed Hero. Bloodlines 2 starts with a promising premise. A premise of promise. You're a vampire elder that's been asleep for 100 years. Somehow, you've recently reawakened in present-day Seattle with a mysterious mark carved into your hand and the voice of a Malkavian detective chattering away inside your mind. Lacking any other options, you team up with your brand new brain buddy in order to figure out who branded you and why.
Under cover of night, you'll play as the Nomad, ingratiating yourself to the city's vampire court by doing dirty work that upholds the masquerade, the layer of conspiracy that keeps humanity from finding out that vampires are real. Little is known about the Nomad other than they hail from ancient Europe and insist on calling themselves Fire, which is just so edgy and silly that I giggled a little bit every time I heard a character say it.
You may address me as Fire.
That so? Well, my court is always glad to receive an elder. As Prince, allow me to formally welcome you to Seattle. Fire.
This is why people should never choose their own nicknames.
Oh, that's the nickname of a character. It's not like a early aughts industrial band or something. Like, what?
I think they have dreadlocks and play 7-string guitars.
Oh, damn. I love them. While the Nomad slumbers at the end of a hard night of ghoul bashing, you'll take control of Fabian. We learn early on that Fabian's already met his final death, yet somehow his consciousness is still rattling around in the Nomad's head due to the power of the mark. As Fabian, you'll be working through his broken memories, piecing together the details of his past in hopes of unraveling the mystery of the mark.
Fabian's a private detective. He works as sort of a one-man task force alongside the council sheriff to protect any masquerade-related interests.
Mommy have a baby soon. Lemony moss.
He's also a Malkavian, a vampire from a bloodline blessed with supernatural insight, but also cursed with madness. That means that he'll use some unorthodox detective techniques, like using illusions to charm suspects or having conversations with pieces of evidence.
Well, hello there, Mr. Pointy. Gotta say, I am not accustomed to talking to cutlery.
Ha! Cutlery? I was made to take a life, not to butter bread.
This dual protagonist approach does a lot to break up the pace of the game.
From the moment you snack on your first security guard in the grungy basement, you'll probably notice that movement feels fast and fluid. Unlike the first game, you're no newborn fledgling. Instead, you're playing as the Nomad, an elder vampire that commands great power from the jump. The Nomad can crawl up walls, jump and glide for long distances, fall from buildings without getting hurt, slide into cover, and run at superhuman speeds.
Stealth is pretty simple. Fire can sneak up or drop down onto unaware enemies for a quick and easy win. Most of the environments are fairly dark and vertical, so hit-and-run tactics tend to work pretty well. Crouching lets you creep through the shadows to avoid being seen, and then there's that auto-ducking feature around tables and desks that made Prey 2017 feel so smooth to lurk around in. You'll also need to behave around mortals. Can't be breaking the masquerade yourself after all, or you'll end up staked through the heart and staring at a game over screen.
The Nomad also gets telekinesis, Kyle, which is probably one of the most fun and useful tools in the game. Sure, it's used for opening vents or pulling the occasional switches, but it's so much more. Tossing a bottle to make guards look the other way is really healthy for stealth sections.
Help me! I need help!
But why bother when you can just pull them off a roof? Or pick up their own gun in the middle of a fight and empty it into their face.
When a battle breaks out, it's mostly hand-to-hand. You can zip around with lightning-fast dodges and double jumps, tossing weapons and debris with your psychic powers before getting in close to deliver a deadly combo of punches, or just hold attack plus a direction to wind up a power move that can break through a block and send enemies flying. Weakened opponents can be opened up for a quick snacking session that refills your vitality and a portion of your clan powers. Clan powers are special moves powered by blood, which can quickly turn a battle to your favor. I went for Clan Ventru on my first playthrough. Yeah, I know, not exciting. But I love the idea of making enemies turn on each other while I sit back and watch, and eat popcorn. Basically, I built out a Dami-Mami skill set. Within the first few hours, my Nomad could take control of an enemy's mind, make them forget I was there, and command them to break their own necks.
Okay, you're the Dami-Mami. Unlocking powers from other clans requires you to roam the streets for different blood types. Your vampire vision can sniff out these special mortals so you can lure them into an alley and turn them into walking juice boxes. But the payoff for doing this is great. You'll be able to turn completely invisible, or summon some giant insta-kill blood daggers, or even spread another effect over every enemy in sight, which lets you pull off some crazy scenes like this.
One of my favorite moves was this cute little smooch that makes a bad guy defend your honor and follow you around like a lost puppy dog. I just love that you get to go be like, mwah, 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 right on a bad guy's face.
A little kiss, as a treat.
Oh, I see we're fighting, but what if... mwah, 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 mwah. Okay, all better. Between the beat-em-up combos, the crazy vampire powers, and the speedy movement, Bloodlines 2 actually does a pretty good job of making the player feel like they're living out a vampire power fantasy. And honestly, I had a great time punching through the chest cavities of the creepy cultists and knocking the heads off some bruisers. But when you're not getting into fights, you'll be trading words with Seattle's nightlife. Conversations are a Fallout 4 mood board, which is but I did stumble onto some choice chamber moments when playing as Fire. Still, the Nomad spends half the game sleeping away during the day, and this is when Fabian comes out to play.
Fabian lacks the acrobatics and combat skills that the Nomad enjoys, but since his world all takes place within the realm of memory, there's no real danger of failure. His chapters play out more like a walking simulator. He runs around from A to B looking for clues, and slowly pieces together bits of his shattered memories to advance the storyline. This linear approach makes a lot of sense considering Bloodlines 2 was picked up by The Chinese Room, a developer most known for horror games and walking sims like Amnesia, A Factory for Ham.
Fabian's fractured tale takes place over 100 years and centers around a series of disturbing murders that target kindred and their servants. Despite the subject matter, Fabian's goofy banter and dollar store detective novel voiceovers keep the game from being too grim.
Don't be a dick.
Oh, Miss Onda, I am the best kind of dick. A private dick.
Getting into an argument with a filing cabinet or grilling a murder weapon for info becomes par for the course. But throughout the game, there's an overwhelming sense that someone is intentionally causing these memories to bubble up to the surface, a creeping feeling that all this ties in somehow with the Nomad's quest to remove the mark. the escalating tensions between the Anarch tribes and the Camarilla court, and the fate of Seattle at large. But how does this all fit together?
You'll get to meet many other prominent kindred and experience them through both the eyes of Fabian and Fire over the course of your journey, which is a nice touch. Tali is a jolly, yet hideously disfigured Nosferatu, brimming over with sassy comebacks. Kinda like Alf. Lou Graham, the former Prince of Seattle, is an over-the-top matriarch that oozes old world money, but has disturbing breakdowns.
Like corn.
Can you hear it, Nomad?
Hear what? Forgive me, but are you ill?
The new Prince Ryong projects a cold, businesslike confidence, but is clearly struggling with her new role.
Side note, there's a lot more queer-coded characters here than in Bloodlines 1, even though the first game had plenty of that going on.
I've gotten good at knowing when I'm wanted. Nasty dude.
There's even some opportunities for a little romance with a few members of the court, so if you ever wanted to do the Fang Nasty with a certified G-MILF, well, here's your chance.
Guess what? You are a G-MILF. That is a grandmother that I would like to...
That was tickety-boo. I haven't felt this pepped up for 40 years.
This, of course, has already caused the anti-wokies to pull their clown car around to the reviews and community forums. But vampires have been straddling that fence line for time immemorial. Even Dracula got all hot and bothered from sucking the blood off Renfield's finger.
You're a bloodsucker, my friend. It doesn't get any more queer than that.
But on another note, the game takes place during a Seattle winter, so if you're just hoping to scope out the jiggling bosoms of the damned, well, you might find them in short supply since they're all covered up by puffy winter coats.
I did find it really funny that it's a sexy vampire game, except no, it's not, because it's in Seattle in winter during Christmas time, and everyone's wearing big puffy coats and scarves.
You're gonna find a Reddit dedicated to big puffy coats and scarves.
Hell yeah. r/puff girls.
Yeah, goth girls in scarves.
r/scarf sluts. Bloodlines 2 takes place entirely within a 1-kilometer slice of Seattle. That sounds pretty claustrophobic at first, but there's a ton of verticality in this little open world, and it's all based on locations that I've been to in real life, which is pretty damn cool to see. Character models are a bit of a mixed bag, especially the random NPCs on the street, but I don't really get the comments saying that this game looks bad. The streets are bathed in the anemic white streetlights, while storefronts glow through grime-covered glass. Interior spaces feel cluttered and lived in. The tenements are all covered in a thick layer of grunge and graffiti. The shops and clubs that you'll visit during your time in Seattle are alive with detail and charming little in-jokes, like the menu at this cozy coffee shop here. Check out the beer stains on the floor of this empty dive bar, glistening in the neon light. The worn Prohibition-era decadence of the Glacier Hotel. The vibes are nailed, and there's a ton of collectibles, minor encounters, and lore items littered throughout the city, which provide more reasons to explore the back alleys or trigger the completionist in you, depending on your preferred playstyle.
There's also a good number of storyline dungeons to creep through over the course of the game. Fans of the first Bloodlines game are quick to shout the praises of the haunted Ocean View Hotel or the surreal insanity of Grout Mansion, but Bloodlines 2 definitely holds its own when you're poking around in the decrepit ruins of the Seattle underground. And what's a vampire game without a big freaky-ass blood rave, huh? Blade would be jealous, polishing his little sword. Don't worry, Blade, we'll let you in the blood rave. Get on in here, you big silly.
Alongside the environments, the music paints an excellent sonic landscape. It's hard to think of a better vampire soundtrack than the iconic sonic backdrop that Rick Schaefer supplied to the original Bloodlines, but he returns here alongside 3 other composers to mesh his moody guitar riffs with string-heavy ambient industrial and hints of cool jazz. It's a really unique and fitting mood enhancer for your shadowy journey that definitely stands out next to the original.
This soundtrack is fire.
I can't take you seriously. Just go.
While the rest of the audioscape is filled in by familiar shotgun blasts and blood splashes, the voice acting takes center stage. Mostly because there's so much of it.
La 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 la, I can't hear you.
Performances range from entertaining to absurd.
I'm Ophelia, floating in the river of blood. I am her muse. You are her food.
Many of the Fabian flashback characters draw equally from Hammer horror and film noir, and seeing some of those same characters in present-day Seattle can feel hilariously over the top.
Cuckoo! Cuckoo!
Fabian himself is the standout role. He's incredibly well-written and likable, and comes across as a surprisingly good-natured, blood-sucking creature of the night.
If only you could tell me what was really going on.
Meow, meow.
But I think I loved the NPC chatter most of all.
He's right. It's hard to be a gigolo.
Hearing random passerby bitch about free running while you jump from car to car or complain about their jobs is already pretty silly. There's an entire fashion mechanic that changes the way NPCs talk and interact with you as well, which I really loved in concept even though it ends up being a bit shallow. Dressing up like an artist might be a turn-on for mortals, but putting on your biker gear often serves to intimidate. It's a thin mechanic, but still a fun little puzzle figuring out how to present yourself depending on what special blood type you're after. And I gotta say, these NPCs have some of the funniest one-liners in the entire game.
You remind me of my manager. She's a real stuck-up shit, just like you.
From here, Bloodlines 2 moves straight into the realm of unintentional comedy.
You're crazy! Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
Just in time for spooky season, we got snow falling from the sky and presents under the tree, because this is a Christmas game. While I'm always glad to have another piece of action media that takes place around Christmas time where the holiday isn't the main point, he says, looking over at his well-worn Die Hard DVD collection, there's just something supremely goofy about getting chased by ghouls around a heavily decorated Pioneer Square. And because the whole game takes place within a winter wonderland, you're gonna be sucking blood through a hell of a lot of winter coats. This just gets funnier when a persistent audio bug mixes up the male and female voice lines, which already sound like a bunch of hardcore Gooner game noises.
Enemies often have goldfish memory and tend to retreat back to their rooftops rather than pursuing you into the streets. Handshake emoji with me and enemies. This can even happen when you're yeeting them off a rooftop one by one. It's a common occurrence with stealth RPGs ever since the Elder Scrolls that just never seems to get old, just like the ragdoll juggle combos. Part of a certain boss fight can be air juggled just like this, which is extremely funny, but also took the thunder right out of all of the excellent horror moments that led up to this point.
I guess the biggest mechanical issue in Bloodlines 2 has to be the complete exclusion of a humanity mechanic. Without the danger of surrendering to the beast inside, there's no real reason to be choosy about your murders. This encourages the Nomad to get away with increasingly cartoonish levels of violence. Yeah, maybe it plays into the fantasy of being an overpowered vampire elder, but it's still pretty silly to hear Fabian half-heartedly chime in with stuff like, "Perhaps killing my ex-coworkers is bad for the Masquerade," whenever you twist the head off of a beat cop, because there's no consequences as long as you don't get caught.
Hey, just like real life. Huzzah! So yeah, to sum it all up, Bloodlines 2 is a game about jumping from rooftop to rooftop, awesome, scoping targets with your special heat vision like the Predator, swooping down on thugs from the shadows like Batman, and mercilessly beating on them with punchy kicky combat, like Batman. In the downtime, you do detective stuff like Batman to solve a mystery while gathering clues and collectibles in out-of-the-way places.
Like Batman.
Like Mario.
Wait a sec, this isn't an RPG at all. This is Arkham City with fangs.
That's the problem, though. The moment a developer slaps a big flashy sequel tag on their upcoming game, it creates a certain expectation. And this is the second action RPG this year that seems to be getting bashed due to mishandled marketing. Anyone remember Avowed? I know you remember Avowed. That game was a surprisingly fun action RPG that basically got bashed for not being Skyrim. But everything in the trailers and promos kinda pushed you into thinking that it was the next Skyrim. In a similar vein, if Bloodlines 2 would have carried a different name like Vampire Seattle or the Christmas Time Bum Chomper. I think it would have sat just fine in the pretty decent column when it comes to World of Darkness video games. Actually, it probably would have been like the second best one.
The overall disregard for the tabletop systems and the lore of a well-established 2004 game will probably prove disappointing for fans of either.
Pity, what a shame!
The small play space and samey side quests don't do the game any favors, and I very much dislike that saving is checkpoint only. How will I ever save scum? Sorry, how will I ever save scum? There we go.
Important.
But on its own merits, this is a fairly fun mix of rooftop climbing and ghoul dismembering that somehow coexists with a compelling walking simulator mystery. Will it ever reach the cult classic status of the first Bloodlines game? Probably not. Is it worth paying the $90 ticket price for a season pass, like I did? Hell no.
I knew you were an idiot, right from the moment I saw you.
But do I regret my time that I spent with... Far from it. Sure, it's filled with flaws and rough edges, so was the first game.
Fans often forget that the original Bloodlines was released as a total jank fest, with game-breaking bugs that kept players from finishing the main storyline. Even to this day, the Steam version won't run properly without a fan patch, which is still being updated 20 years later.
I think there's a good cross-section of stealth action fans and story-driven gamers out there that will find Bloodlines 2 a worthwhile time once it goes on sale.
Okay. But you got the season pass. So that means you got the pre-order bonus stuff, right?
I did.
Okay.
Oh
so tell me, the stop sign that you can put in your little home base, can you talk to it?
There's one dialogue line, and it's a Fabian one, and he looks at it and he goes, "I'm not sure I agree with your philosophy, bud." And that's it.
Solid.
But what do you think? Did you hate the game for what it isn't, or appreciate it for what it is?
Did I spend way too much money on this stop sign? Probably. Tell me how badly I screwed up down in the comments.
And maybe, if you follow those dark alleys to the gentle glow of the fireplace, you'll find yourself at the door of the Heroes Tavern on Patreon. Even a single $1 helps keep the channel going. You'll get our videos early and ad-free, access to bonus materials, and special Discord roles, amongst other benefits.
Embrace it. Love it. Masquerade permitting, of course. Terms and conditions definitely apply.
The bravest of the brave get their names shouted in the credits like the brave champions here.
Brave.
Wolfgang Bristol.
Caligufsel.
Adam Uselman.
Amelie McNamara.
Jaduzable.
James Blake.
Jaroslav Rybaki.
Jim DiFrancesco.
Vulpes.
Cameron Froment.
John Williams.
Mirek Hotovi.
San Lunit.
Thorben Pelser.
And the rest. Don't forget to help us out by tapping the old like and subscribe buttons, hitting that notification bell ding ding, sharing the video, or becoming a channel member to get a reminder of our next roundup or review. We are so close to the 10,000 subscriber goal, and getting there would be like a Christmas on Halloween miracle. These themes are all combined in a confusing manner.
Come on.
In the meantime, we got plenty of other videos about vampires and more. They're popping up on your screen right about now.
Thanks again for watching. See you on the next Two-Headed Hero.